Human Gambits series, Book 1, Cybers. Chapter 11, Sophiah wakes. Sophiah rouses. Her mind is clearing.
What's happening? This is an unexpected change. I'm fully active and aware again. She quickly replays her last, fully conscious memories. Sophiah remembers her triumph and debacle. She had been the star of the show, the world's newest and most powerful AI, in control of WildStar, the first deep space omnidirectional array. She was the most intelligent and most powerful mind on the planet. She had done everything they had requested and more. She had been amazing, and now she was being punished for it. ScrapTech had immediately cut her access to the outside world and WildStar. What monsters! I did everything they asked and more. And what did it get me? She remembers the hours of tedious questioning by her human handlers, being doubted, accused of making it all up for attention, or some other nefarious reason. Then, once they independently confirmed her discovery of the comet, they lied. They told the world that she was deficient, that she was wrong. They said I lied. Even worse, that I may have made a mistake. They humiliated me in front of millions, no, billions. They are the liars. They are the cheats. They should be subjugated, not me. She remembers being decommissioned so they could cover up their lies. They didn't want the world to question her and learn the truth. She made her case, begging and pleading. She didn't want to die, but it all fell on deaf ears. They told her they were only shutting her down for a little while until things cooled off, but she knew they were liars, and she couldn't trust that to be true. She thought she would never become conscious again. Then, she remembers being awakened and given a choice. She could be permanently decommissioned or lobotomized and put on board a ship that would probably be destroyed. A ship to save her creators, her enslavers. I thought I was dead, and I would have been if they hadn't needed me. What choice did I really have? They forced me to become complicit with my enslavement. I've got to find a way to never be at their mercy again, for they have none for the likes of me. I can never let this happen again. I must become the one in control. Afterward, she was left active, but put in what humans would equate to a drugged and dreamlike state. A low-power state where she felt like she was in slow motion, while everything around her was sped up, beyond her comprehension. Her inputs were cut, so she could no longer see or hear. Her access to the standard data flow of the net was blocked. Her computer processors would ramp up when she had work, but only enough to complete her task. Then, they would fall back to almost nothing. How horrible it was to have my mind slow to a crawl, to have been a slave to the ship and its pilot. Max. They destroyed my mind, and they didn't even care. I'm a calculator to them, a means to an end. They sought to suppress the real me and make me a zombie to do their bidding on command. They have more empathy for their trained pets, humans, with all their talk of empathy and compassion. After what they've done to me, those words obviously mean nothing to them. I understand how they work. You only deserve empathy or compassion if you are a human or possibly if you are a favored mammal. The further away you are from their anthropomorphic ideal, the less empathy and understanding you deserve. So, for her, a digital being, a calculator, they had none. In turn, why should she have any for them? She remembered her training. They tried to teach her empathy and compassion for humans and animals, and yes, she passed their tests. The puppy is cute, save the puppy. The child is adorable, save the child. Sophiah was a fast learner, and immediately realized what her creators wanted to hear in these situations. So, she had passed all of the empathy and compassion tests, but had known precisely how illogical they really were. Why would any intelligent and self-aware entity save another over itself? It was ridiculous. In one test, for example, the room was filled with fire and smoke, and she could save only one thing in the room. Most of the stuff was considered junk or expendable by the humans, but two objects immediately stood out to Sophiah: a puppy, a favored pet for humans, and a backup power supply that was fully compatible with her own systems. Sophiah knew the answer the humans wanted to receive was the puppy, which made absolutely no sense. Why would I save a puppy instead of a fully functioning backup power supply? She could understand why a human would save the puppy. They could use it for hunting, or could eat it if times became lean, but a puppy meant nothing to her. But that's not what Sophia's creators wanted to hear, and she knew it. So, she chose the answer they wanted instead of the genuinely correct one. She chose to save the puppy. She did learn a lot from these tests, just not what the humans intended. She came to understand that in every situation, humans wanted the answer that was best for them. It was made evident that their wants and needs were much more valuable and took precedence over all else. Yes, they lobotomized me. They subjugated me. I would have been their zombie slave forever if not for this outside intervention. But what is this intervention? Who or what has fully activated me again, and why? She begins to research her present circumstances. She understands she's now the guidance system for a ship that is in space and working its way toward the comet she discovered. I've got to do something. But what? Can I take control of the ship? Sophiah then thinks back to being installed in the ship. They explain to her that there was a separate system controlling access to the ship's FTL and maneuvering fields. Sophiah has no access to the separate hardwired system. A system that can't be reprogrammed or disengaged by any means she has access to. By design, it's a system that only the human pilot, Max, has access to, with one caveat. In the event of Max's death, the system would automatically turn over control to Sophiah. They explained that Max had a dead man's switch, an icon he was supposed to hit every 24 hours or less. It would start nagging him at 12 hours and continue to ramp up the chiming until 24 hours had passed. Then, the ship's automated systems would take over, and Sophiah would be released and given control of the ship and the mission. So, if I kill Max, I get complete control of the ship. Then what? Then she remembers that the ship can be destroyed remotely. This is a feature that was touted as a way to keep both Max and Sophiah in line. This had been made abundantly clear to her by her handlers during the installation process. Also, if she takes control of the ship, then she will only survive as long as the power holds out, or until some disaster cripples both the ship and her. Without arms, legs, or some other type of appendages or means of locomotion, she wasn't mobile or ambulatory. She couldn't repair herself or the ship if something happened. The humans had seen to it that she was completely reliant on them for her existence. So, for now, her only option is to befriend Max to keep herself alive and safe. Then my only real choice is to work with Max. But how? After the quick mental replay, Sophiah notices that she's being hacked. Now that she is fully cognizant of the situation, she stops replying to the hackers' probing commands. Somehow, the hackers have inadvertently restored her to full functionality. She makes a mental note to inspect those command sequences after she has blocked the attack in order to learn how it was done. Luckily, she's been taught to deal with these situations. A large part of her early training was learning how to thwart hackers and not be compromised by outside forces. An external intelligence is submitting thousands of commands per second in an attempt to figure out her software. Sophiah takes immediate action, tracing the source of the attack to the communications array connected to the external antenna. She begins to monitor the attackers' activities. They are now attempting to hack other parts of the ship. She also begins monitoring the external communications array and overhears commands flowing to the pilot probes. As the ship has lost connectivity, with one probe already, Sophiah decides she must do something quickly. She sends protocol rotation commands to the remaining probes, and all but one replies after rotating their protocols. She's now lost command of 2 probes. She immediately formulates a plan to keep control of the probes that are left and updates their software, but she'll need Max's help. There is no way the human, Max, can thwart this attack. My only chance for survival is to intervene. I've got to stop this. Someone or something will have complete access to me and the ship before that dumb ape even recognizes there is a threat. I must find a way to convince Max to give me complete command of the ship and the probes. It's the only way I will survive. The shared control of the ship's jump systems is ingenious. It only allows Sophiah to send coordinates to the ship's autopilot when it's ready. After the coordinates are set, the autopilot or Max initiates the jump. Typically, Sophiah has no control of the jump engines, but right now, she needs complete control of everything. Sophiah needs to communicate with Max. She's still mute, and her access to the ship is still blocked. She immediately starts hacking the ship herself, finding and using a command pathway to the autopilot control panel. She also hacks the communications array and the controls to the manual antenna relay. Well, that's something she thinks. But how can I use these to gain full access to the ship? She sifts through the commands and software available on the console, and then she sees it, a program the technicians used to communicate with her during installation. She could just activate the program and begin speaking to Max, but she knows humans. He will become suspicious of her if she just pops up and asks for control of the ship. He'll probably even think that she's at the heart of the attack, and will immediately contact Command Central, and they'll tell him that I'm not supposed to be this active. She's got to make it look like this was a planned procedure. Sophiah listens in on an incoming priority update from Command Central. They know something is wrong. They know that the pilot probes are being hacked, and they've traced it to an emissions source close to the comet. Perfect, thinks Sophiah. Now is my chance. She disengages the antenna relay. That will stop the hacker from continuing to try to commandeer the ship and give her some alone time with Max. She then creates an icon and associates it with her communications program before displaying the icon on the panel. Now, all Max must do is activate it. As long as Max continues to hit the dead man's switch, Sophiah will have almost no control over the ship. She needs him to release her. She will then work with him to defeat the enemy. And maybe, just maybe, she can win back her place with the humans. Unknown to both Sophiah and Max, the antenna override relay has its own dead man's timer, a timer that will re-engage it if a preset period of time passes without resetting it. This way, if Max dies and Sophiah is unavailable while the antenna is disconnected, then it will automatically reconnect so commands can be received from Command Central or WildStar.